Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
A beautiful morning to you. Welcome as Wednesday's edition of the VOP this morning on Voice of the People TV. I am Fina Okechukwu. You're welcome.
All right, it's a beautiful day indeed. I am Moses Humphrey, welcoming you to the show, and it promises to be an interesting one right here on the program today. Wednesday, the 16th, yes, the 16th of October, 2024. If it's your birthday today, I want to wish you a happy birthday. Oh, yes.
And good morning and welcome to VOP This Morning Show. My name is Chukwuma Okoro. Moses, today is my daughter's birthday.
Oh, okay, nice one. Happy birthday to her.
I'm always in the spirit.
Yeah, you are. You're still leading the people.
Happy birthday to her.
I'll let her know that.
All right, then happy birthday to you as well. Well, let's get into the conversation. We'll be looking at the papers shortly. We'll also be touching on a few things that trended yesterday. All right. But before then, let's let you into the conversation for this morning so you get your mind prepared. Now, the federal government confirms the UK did not endorse Sunday Igboho'S petition for Yoruba Nation, as Anambra residents warned Governor Soludo over threats on voluntary sit-at-home observers. All right, these are some of the conversations we'll touch on.
Away from that, the Independent National Electoral Commission has cautioned Governor Oyo State of Oyo State over unfounded allegations during campaigns. Governor Olusheyi had called on INEC to remove the resident electoral commissioner, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola, from Ondo State because, according to Makinde, Babalola comes from Ondo State, and that violates INEC's regulations on appointment of resident electoral commissioners.
All right, but will INEC listen? Will INEC do the beating of the governor? I guess we'll wait to see.
INEC actually wrote something about that, but anyway, we'll discuss that during the course of the program. They said Makinde should make his assignment, he should take care of his assignment, do his research properly before coming out to make some statements. But anyway, those are the major topic of discussion for today. We have other interesting trending stories. But before we proceed, we would like you to kindly join us, be part of the family. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. And on all other social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. I'm talking about the Facebook, the X.com, the TikTok, just other social media platforms. We have VOP TV Live. And then talking about trending topics or trending stories, the Federal Ministry of Aviation has mandated that starting from January 1, 2025, all foreign airlines operating in Nigeria must source their onboard meals from local centers or from local caterers for outbound flights. This decision was communicated through a letter from H.T. Ejibuno, Director overseeing the Office of the Permanent Secretary, to the Acting Director General of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. The ministry has stressed the need for foreign airlines to comply with this directive, and further implementation details are expected in the coming month. The policy aims to support local catering businesses and promote domestic economic growth. So, as the case may be, if you are a Chinese person and then you're traveling from Nigeria to China, here in Nigeria, any aircraft or any airline decide to choose will serve you a locally made food from Nigeria. And that is what the ministry is trying to say from 1st of January.
Yeah, is that what the minister is trying
to say?
No, the minister says you use local contractors.
We're talking about local caterers.
But we have Chinese restaurants here.
In Nigeria.
Yes.
But they are talking about promoting our local one, because that's why they actually sent out that particular memo.
Well, you don't know why they sent out the memo. It's just, it's basically local caterers.
Local caterers.
We could have local caterers give you
Intercontinental
international,
dishes.
you know, intercontinental
Dishes.
Yes, so I think, well.
But does it really matter?
You know,
If I'm to ask, does it really matter? That's the question I've had this question on my mind since yesterday. Does this really matter? Like the people that prepare the meal? Because we have so many, you know, within itself that the normal food we buy on the street or on other, you know, if you walk into a restaurant to buy food, it's not the same thing when it gets to the caterers that run the air services.
What they
It's different.
What they serve majorly on airlines are snacks.
No, they cook food. They cook food. Now, if you're running international flight, there's meal because of the duration of the flight. But now my own is this. You've subjected the caterers that run.
I thought I was going to respond to you.
Okay, respond to me, but respond to me, but I still have it in my mind.
No problem. It's okay to have your thoughts. But, you know, usually, majorly, what has been served are, you know, snack and, you know, and the rest. In international flights, yes, sometimes they serve meals and all of that. But if you're using a local caterer, it's basically the word local. I think that's what we are struggling with. All right, it's a caterer resident in the country you are departing from. All right, in this case, is Nigeria. So if airlines are picking up passengers in Nigeria, it's only appropriate that they use caterers within Nigeria. Of course, they would have, you know, negotiated. They would have their caterers just in case. I remember in 1992 there was an incident in I think a foreign airline where meals were served and about 70-something passengers came down with sickness. All right, they were stooling and all of that, and it was traced to the meal that it was easy to trace it because they have a registered caterer servicing that airline. All right. Now, it became an issue because out of the passengers on board and other airlines that the same caterer services, it was just this 70-something people that came down with illness. Every other person that ate the meal were fine. So they had to now narrow it down. Investigations, you know, were carried out and it was narrowed down to something else entirely. But if you imagine taking, yes, also the issue of the issue of storage comes to play. The issue of these things being exposed, especially when boarding takes a long time, comes to play. So these things would affect the quality of the food. All right, if you want to bring your food from outside, you know,
what I wanted to say something earlier was the fact that, you know, if you check the airspace, talking about how the aviation sector works, is different from every other sector. For you to be a licensed caterer that can serve a meal in an aircraft, let's put it that way, my dear brother, it takes a totally different, route. You have to make sure you get the licensing. And every time, aviation authorities will go to make sure they inspect where the meals are being made. And then they also...
that mistakes cannot be made once you have a license?
No. The issue of mistakes being made is a total flag. They will just take you out of it.
I think the issue is whether it is licensing or not. I mean, they are not the only people that require licenses to operate here. If they have to get a license to operate, at least it makes them accountable. You know how, like the instance most cited now, at least you know how to trace, if there's an issue. But beyond that, I think, if you ask me, the policy is a good one. It also goes a long way to boost the local economy, to the extent that we have Nigerians here, providing that service, of course, to the aviation industry.
I absolutely agree with you.
And if you ask me, Festus Keyamo seems to be doing very well, or seems to be doing well, within the space of time that he has manned the ministry. So I'll just give him a thumb up and ask him to continue in that direction. Maybe we could get it right one day in the
Maybe we will.
I was actually thinking that he's going to go through the issue of making sure that those who cancel flights are being penalized well. And then,
they're working on that.
The scheduling of flights also will be taken care of. And also, if you get to some of our airports, you need enough air conditioner. And a lot of things need to be attended to when you
But I
get to
think
our
it's
airports in
a step
Nigeria,
at a time.
It's
When
a
he
step
came
at a
into
time,
office, we knew that landing lights were taken away by the previous administration. Those landing lights were fixed and then taken away by individuals. He had to do a lot in fixing them again. So I think the minister is doing I think he's doing a lot of work. Oh, Fina. Oh well. Congratulations, Minister Festus Kiyama. Let's go into another story.
All right, and that is about what's happening on the state, where Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa is facing criticism for approving 775 points, that's all the fraction at the back of it, million naira for the remodeling of the government house fence and gate. A contract awarded to Bonyanet Limited just weeks before the state election. Critics have slammed the project excessive and unjustified, especially given the state's financial constraint. A lawyer, Kayode Mobojuri, accused the governor of financial recklessness, while social media users raised concerns about Aiyedatiwa's spending habit. And this follows earlier controversy in April 2024. Recall that there was a time where a 5 billion naira controversy, sparked so much reaction on social media because that money was said to be allocated to a daycare center renovation. But, the State Budget Commissioner come up to say that that actually was a typographical error. And the people now calm down. But this one are having a 775 point something million being allocated to remodel the fence and gate of the government house. A whole lot of Nigerians are talking about
My question is it the gate to heaven?
Maybe.
Because that's a lot of money.
Maybe. When I heard this story, I took it up with Dele Fanimo, our in-house analyst. Dele is from Oyo State. And when I said, Dele, your governor has allocated 775 million naira for renovation of your government house. You know what Dele said? Dele said, what is 775 million? You should have made it up to 1 billion naira.
Are you
okay.
Sarcastically, he said, any money in Nigeria doesn't sound like B doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. Okay.
He was just saying that has become the way of Nigerians. And someone commented on X that Aiyedatiwa is just trying to get money,
For elections.
For elections. I
was going to say that.
For November 16th election.
Yeah, that's it's obvious.
That's just obvious. It's obvious. Because
that's what it is.
Even if it is gold-plated, even if it is a gold-plated gate,
bulletproof and everything.
Should it cost up to 775 million naira? That is 1 million naira times 775 times.
Remember, there's a point to it, 0.065.
And Moses asked, is that the gate to heaven? I mean, what have we become as a people?
The way monies are thrown around, I think in an ideal climate, the governor would be questioned. Exactly. Because elections are around the corner, and you are approving this humongous amount of money for fence and gate. I don't know if you want to convert. Okay, this is just me being sarcastic now. The monies Donald Trump spent in building a fence around the U.S., if we convert it to naira, is it going to be up to this amount of money? I'm just joking. But the bottom line is, this is not, I mean, even for the optics, all right? For the optics, it is not good. It just spells, because it just, gives the impression that because you are a government in power, elections are coming, you are trying to rake in as much funds as you want to be able to carry out elections. That's the impression.
Moses, even if you want to use it as a slush fund, to get money for elections, can't you also do a project that you spread across? Like if you go to primary schools and say you want to construct reading desks across all the primary and secondary schools in Oyo State, it will benefit the people.
But that money will not run into billions.
Be audited.
No. So this one will not be audited.
Will it be?
Why wouldn't it be audited?
In Nigeria, Nigeria, you said something about us making it to Netflix, and you want to ask, are we supposed to be on Netflix already, Because if you check it out, it's only in Nigeria that python swallows money. In Nigeria, monkey took money away. In Nigeria as a country, we spent billions also in buying tires just one day. And now a governor is spending 775 point something million naira
And
just for
World
fans.
Bank has given Nigeria another
Loan.
500
Billion
million
naira
grant.
NGK.
COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Yeah, NGK.
NGK.
You know, when I saw that, I'm like, oh my goodness, why now? It just feels like another opportunity and for individuals to divert funds because the funds that have been gotten so far, the question on my mind is, what have they been used for? If we look critically, these funds are being diverted.
MK Abiola, may God bless his soul, said something. He said, the hand of the receiver is always below. I mean, if I'm giving you, he said the hand of the receiver is always below. Nigeria's hands will always remain below so long as we continue to receive. Moses, that 500 million naira is a grant away from the 2.5 billion naira that has been approved as loans by, is it the World Bank or IMF? You know, we know how to take, but what we do with this money, like you said, these monies are filtered away into private pockets. We have received so much that our story shouldn't be the same.
It shouldn't be the
It
same,
shouldn't be the
to
same.
honest.
And look at what World Bank said. That the reforms, the economic reform policies of this government
should linger for 15
should linger for 15 years. And I begin to ask, on whose interest is World Bank?
Maybe they see what we are not saying, you know, because they are the ones that also told us that, you know, if the present administration did not take time, what happened in Kenya might happen again, and it's not going to be a good one for Africa because it's going to sound more like, you know, we're going backwards.
So they are speaking from both sides of their mouth.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tina, you were talking about Netflix. The next story you will read is the major Netflix.
And that is about how the House was a representative committee and how they'll be visiting Lagos, and that is scheduled to be on the 21st of October 2024.
Okay.
To further investigate allegations of corruption involving the EFCC and the Nigerian Correctional Services, based on claims made by cross-dresser Bobrisky through an audio recording shared by social media influencer Martins Ose. They call him Very Dark Man. The committee will visit the Correctional Center and EFCC office in Lagos with plans to resume hearing afterwards. Bobrisky, who was convicted in April 2024 for naira abuse, allegedly paid 15 million naira to drop money laundering charges against him. The investigation has also revealed claims that Bobrisky received preferential treatment during his detention, leading to suspensions within the NCOs. Also, in a separate legal matter, the Lagos High Court has ordered Martins Ose, aka Very Dark Man, to remove defamatory content from his social media regarding senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, and his son, Folarin, they call him Faz. The Falanas filed a suit claiming defamation after Ose published a video falsely alleging that they collected 10 million naira from Bobrisky to influence his legal case. The court has also restrained Ose from further publishing defamatory content and mandated him to issue an apology and pay damages of 500 million naira to the Falanas. Quite an interesting story, Chuma.
It's an interesting movie, not a story.
The storyline is
the storyline
yes,
is very interesting. You see, the point of it is this. I will be surprised that anybody is surprised that this is coming from the House of Representatives.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm embarrassed.
Okay. I said I will be surprised that anybody is surprised because it clearly shows that they are idle.
Yeah.
They are idle. In the midst of the economic
decline. So they'll fly down
decline,
to Lagos.
Fly down to Lagos.
And they invited this young man to Abuja and he couldn't go, you know. So now
they'll fly
they're
down to Lagos, go in a convoy to the NCOS and the EFCC office to verify if bribe was taken or verify the accommodation he stayed in. Are you serious? Are we serious?
Moses, in the midst of the economic decline, in the midst of the hardship, our House of Representatives is busy looking at a young man who has decided to change himself from a man to a woman.
But he said he's still a man anyway.
And that is what is occupying them.
There was flood in Kogi State the other day, all right? Over 200 houses, around 7 communities submerged. We haven't heard anything in that regard. We haven't heard from the National Assembly in that regard. I haven't heard.
And you begin to ask, where is the police that should be doing the
There's an investigation.
So why the duplication?
I had to look up.
It's simply because they are idle.
I had to look up part of the Constitution that spoke about the activities of the Assembly when it comes to summoning an individual. And there's an excerpt I'm going to read here. It says, they are to issue a warrant to compel the attendance of any person who, after having been summoned to attend, fails, refuses, or neglects to do so, and does not excuse such failure. Let's hold on to that. Refusal or neglect to the satisfaction of the House, of the committee in question. Let's hold on to that one. And order him to pay all costs which may have been occasioned. All right? Now, the excuse, first off, when you're summoned by the legislative body, the summoning comes a week before. So you're giving time to prepare. The excuse given by Bobrisky's counsel was that he wasn't feeling well. Am I correct?
Yeah, they say he was sick.
He was sick.
Yeah.
Well, was he sick when the summons came a week before? Was he sick? And then the hearing went on in his absence.
That's another one.
And the young man, Martins, very dark man, as is popularly known, insisted that he will not speak because, he needed Bobrisky to be there. But he was compelled or, encouraged to speak. And he spoke. But what was done afterwards? Now, he's been taken to court. He's been asked to pay
500 million naira.
That's okay. That's to the Falanos. That's okay. But the issue around Idris Okuneye and the fact that individuals like that get sentenced and do not serve term is of major concern. It's of major concern to me. It should be of major concern to Nigerians. And the way and manner the House of Representatives is handling this is very annoying, to say the least, for lack of a better word. Very annoying. Quite unfortunate.
Anyway, that's how far we can go on looking at the trending topics. We'll have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the front pages of the national dailies this morning. Just a quick break. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back. Now let's get into the papers now, looking at headlines from the papers. Now do know that this is, we're taking a peep at the headlines from the dailies, but we'll go in depth at 9 o'clock. Join us again then. But for now, newspaper headlines from the Punch newspaper. Window headlines first. PDP crisis. Damagum gets reprieve. Leads Ondo campaign. Government hires SANs for Lagos-Calabar highway suit. We'll talk about this one later.
That's right.
FG plans cash transfer for 20 million poor Nigerians. Fresh crisis hits Rivers as pro-Fubara Wike lawmakers clash. Marketers plan petrol import to bridge shortfall. Dangote not producing enough to meet domestic demand currently, dealers claim. Ipman loads NNPCL PMS. All right. And then underneath there, we have high petrol price pushes inflation to 32.7%. Report. Oyo Dam, anxiety grips Ogun community over fresh flooding. All right. Lagdo Dam has, that's another one. Naira among worst performing currencies. World Bank. This World Bank, Seth. Oh, well, these are the headlines from the Punch newspaper.
On the cover page of the Guardian newspaper this morning, the bold headline reads, "A World Food Day. Inflation wearing Nigerians begging, borrowing for survival." The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper, and there's a breakdown where we have, the more like a plate-like, and there we have the fuel tank. The monitor there. Beside it is a fork and a knife, and the breakdown reads, low-income families unable to afford basic foods. Many Nigerians will struggle to meet their expenditures between now and 2025, CBN survey. 1.6 million hectares of land have been inundated by flood, climate-induced issues and insecurity. By the conservative estimate of the national average cost of a healthy diet of 1,225 naira per meal, as of August figures, a family of 4 would require 150,000 naira a month to have a meal daily. 50% of fresh agricultural produce in Nigeria is lost during the post-harvest stage. And beside that breakdown, Nigeria, others may need 100 years to end extreme poverty, says World Bank. Court sentences teenager to 5 years imprisonment for sexual assault. The story is on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper. Your policies punishing Nigerians, professional bodies, tell Tinubu. Power Minister denies multiple grade collapses, blames minor trip-off. And there we have the PDP rally in Oyo State. There's a pictorial on that, the Guardian newspaper. And beside that, Abbas plays 10,000 naira monthly upkeep for pensioners. As Lagos Red Line Rail begins operation to move 500,000 passengers daily. Those are the stories that made it to the cover page of the Guardian newspaper.
And from the Guardian newspaper, we'll move over to the Nigerian Tribune with the major headline, PDP governors resolve NWC crisis. I think that's a good one. Asked parties to revert to status quo. Amewule-led Rivers Assembly declares pro-Fubara lawmakers' seat vacant. Your seats already declared vacant since December 13. Pro-Fubara lawmakers in seats. That story is on pages 4 and 5 of the Tribune newspaper. And just ahead of that headline, there's a picture there. It's the PDP flagging off their campaign in Oyo State. And there's a headline there that reads, PDP flags off Ondo governorship campaign as Makinde demands redeployment of state rec. That story is on page 3 of the Tribune. Babalola, not Ondo State indigene, according to INEC. But INEC has not told Nigerians the state of origin of Babalola. That
is actually our major topic, so they will tell us during this conversation.
And ahead of the masthead, you have inflation hits 32.70% in September. Rising inflationary trend eroding manufacturers, investors' profit margins, according to the CPPE. Bank recapitalization to support $1 trillion economy by 2030, according to CBN governor. Foreign reserve rises to 39.12 billion naira. That's a good one. Court orders Very Dark Man to remove defamatory content about Falana and his son. That story is on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And below the major headline, you have Oyo government arraigns auxiliary on 17-count charge. That story is on page 30 of the Tribune newspaper. World Food Day, Nigerians groan as prices of food items continue to rise. Experts profile solutions to food insecurity. And 2009 federal government stroke ASU agreement. Yayale Ahmed heads 53-member renegotiation committee. That story is on page 3. Committee after committee, like party after party, committee after committee. And there's a pictorial there of our own dear governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, when he flagged off the Lagos Red Line at Oyimbo Terminal on Tuesday. And that's all from the Nigerian Tribune.
That's all we can do, looking at the front page of the National Daily this morning due to time. But do well to join Chukuma and Moses for the newspaper analysis proper. And then that will be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. this morning. All right, and I will take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the federal government confirms that UK did not endorse Sunday Igboho'S petition for Yoruba Nation, even as Anambra residents warned their governor, Chukwuma Soludo, over threats on voluntary sit-at-home observers. We'll look at this after this quick break. Stay with us.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries. Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space. Exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
All right, welcome back, and let's let you into the conversation. We have, well, first off, we have our guest joining us today. We have joining us right now. We have Barrister Darlington Agumo, a political analyst, the VOP in-house analyst, and Opeluwa Taiwo, Director, African Bridge Initiative. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning, Moses.
Morning, Moses.
All right, then. So let's get into the conversation proper now. Sunday Adeyemo, known as Sunday Igboho, has submitted a petition to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, seeking support for the creation of a Yoruba nation. Now, this petition, delivered on behalf of Professor Adebanji Akintoye, a leader of the Yoruba Nation movement, called for the UK's intervention in the agitation for a separate state for the Yoruba people. Well, accompanied by key figures from the Yoruba Nation movement, Igboho presented the petition at 10 Downing Street, signaling a continued push for the independence of the Yoruba people. Now, this move highlights the ongoing struggle for self-determination by ethnic groups within Nigeria, with Sunday Igboho and Akintoye at the forefront of the cause for Yoruba Nation. Well, in response, this news was over the weekend, actually. But in response to that, the Nigerian government has dismissed the petition as misleading, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs clarifying that the UK government did not endorse the call for a Yoruba nation. The British High Commissioner in Abuja confirmed that while petitions can be submitted to Downing Street, 10 Downing Street, they are not necessarily supported by the government, which typically refrains from involving itself into domestic matters of other nations. Meanwhile, in the southeast, the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, have warned Governor Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State against intimidating residents who voluntarily observe the sit-at-home protest to demand the release of Ipob leader Nnamdi Kanu. Well, Ipob emphasized that the protest is a peaceful act of self-sacrifice, rooted in the deep frustration with the continued detention of Kanu and the failure of Southeast governors to press for his release. And we know that the sit-at-home has caused a lot of monies have been lost in the Southeast region due to the sit-at-home. Well, let's come to our guest now. Welcome once again, gentlemen. I'm going to start off with Barrister Darlington. Barrister, are you ready for me this morning?
Why not?
Always ready. Well, Barrister, now, when this information came out that a petition was sent to 10 Downing Street for the support for the call for Yoruba nation, you know, we came out here and we talked about it. But now, what do you make of this revelation, this stance of the Nigerian state, and the fact that, yes, the position of the UK also in this, that yes, you can send a petition, but it means nothing truly. What do you make of it?
Moses, the way the federal government of Nigeria treated that matter with levity is suspect.
You think ignoring it is treating it with levity?
The federal government treated the submission of that petition for secession. They treated it with levity. It's a serious issue. They should have handled it the same way they handled that of Nnamdi Kanu, who is calling for a referendum and self-determination. Because the two issues are not far apart from each other. It's all about leaving Nigeria. So why would they treat it with levity? As if it does not matter. Meanwhile, ordinary folks here who protested against bad governance and was flying a Russian flag, they were charged with treasonable felony.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing.
The moment you have had anything to do with a foreign government against your own government, you're a fifth columnist. You should be treated as an enemy of the state. It's as simple as that. You have forgotten that Sunday Igboho has a charge on his head. He has not even come to exonerate himself from that charge. He has not. He's still a wanted person in Nigeria. The federal government of Nigeria under Buhari has charged him for treasonable felony because he declared a war on Nigerian states. Cache of arms were found in his house. He read the secessionist address before the press, where he produced all the symbols of state authority. Symbols of state like flag, anthem, what's it called? Their currency, Fadaka, and the rest of them before the press. So such a person going as far as that, and you are treating it with levity, just dismiss it. Now tell me, what is the difference between what you have done and what you are charging Nnamdi Kanu for? What's the difference? So you can see, it's all about different laws for different folks in Nigeria. I know that if somebody from the south have done that, they should have invaded his village and arrested everybody there.
Well, Simon Ekpa is doing worse than that. But,
hold on. I am saying the way they are treating that of the southeast. I'm sure by now somebody would have invaded the southwest now and surrounded the place with arms and whatever. The same way they have done in the southeast. In fact, they should have invaded the southwest now because they want to secede from Nigeria. What's the difference? Is it not the same thing?
Okay. All right then. Okwaluwat, your thoughts on this, really?
All right. As a nation, Nigeria, we have a different people within the different ethnic groups that feel being marginalized and out of the system. All right, so we're talking about more than 500 languages, more than 300 ethnic groups. And some are known to be more vocal or more popular in terms of figures, right? When we say politics, politics is all about what? Figures. And as a nation of about 230 million people, if any part of the ethnic group is ready to form a nation, the question is, what do you need to form a nation? What are the figures you need? Do you have the number of residents or the number of people that can put up the referendum? And if you have the number, how are they willing to pest or to push for that new nation? And are you ready to follow the due process? We saw what happened to Sudan and other parts of the country, where other parts of the world, and we're having different nations within a nation. And it led to so many war and famine in the land.
All right, so let's talk about this Yoruba nation agitation. We seem to have divergent opinions here. As a Yoruba man, from your interactions with, other Nigerians, what would you say is the position of majority of those from the Yoruba extraction on wanting to leave Nigeria or wanting to remain in Nigeria? Let's not forget that one from a prominent family, Onitiri, Dupe Onitiri, former Abiola's widow, one time, I think sometime this year, read out, some sort of riot act canvassing for Yoruba nation, even though the family has come out to say they are not in support of it. But you do know that she was a wife of the statesman.
All right, so I'm happy that you took it from that angle, and you also said clearly that the family rejected or refuted that claim.
But that could be a political statement.
Now, well, what we say is that Sunday Adeyemo has been pushing for a new nation from a nation, that is the Yoruba nation. And the question is, all the Yorubas, are we all in support of what he's saying? And are we part of all the process? The answer is no.
No, you now as a person, as a Yoruba
right.
man now, let's bring it down to you. Let's leave the whole Yoruba nation. What is your stand on that agitation from Sunday Igboho? Is it speaking your mind?
Sunday Adeyemo is speaking his own mind. He's not speaking the mind of all Yorubas.
So does it mean that when the Yoruba nation, maybe for instance, is finally being granted, you would distance yourself from that cause?
You said if it is being finally approved. Who will approve it? Is it UK government that will approve it? You cannot wake up one day and say because you are popular, you are going to the 10 Downing Street to present a petition. Is UK in charge of Nigeria? If you are ready, there are processes to take in all of this. But if you have gotten the number, of figure that you want, are you ready to go to the United Nations?
My colleague asked the question. It's a personal one. You, Mr. Okpeoluwa Taiwo, are you in support of the Yoruba nation?
I am in support of Nigeria. I'm not in support of any other nation.
Okay.
Mr.
Okpeoluwa, in your opening statement, you said something about numbers, about politics being about numbers and the fact that people should follow due process. And one of the due processes here is conducting a referendum. I want to understand, what is the relationship between numbers and referendum? Don't we have a referendum in our constitution because we don't have enough numbers to conduct a referendum, or what? I want you to link, what you said between population and referendum as a way, to follow due process.
When you have the Constitution of 1999, it was not the people that sat to give that Constitution. It was the military leaders. Now, assuming you have all the communities, all the ethnic groups coming together to put up a Constitution, you can see that the figure is there. Can you compare the figure of all the ethnic groups coming together to form a Constitution and just a military giving the Constitution? Are they the same? The question is not the same. They're not the same. Number one, the figure is not the same. Number two, the representative are not the same. So, and that is why if you have it's not the same. And that you're operating in does not mean that it should continue.
We have National Assembly that represents us. We all went to the polls and elected people in the House of Representatives, and we elected people to represent us in the Senate. If we were very mindful of the fact that we didn't have the numbers to create this constitution, why do we always roll out during elections to go and vote in people to represent us? I want you to create a nexus between population and referendum. That's
now, if you are looking for election and if you are looking for referendum, you understand that Nigeria constitution as of today is faulty. It is not the people that sat together as a people to bring up that constitution. So if the people, the number of the people, that is the ethnic groups, are not together, so that means the figure is not correlating. So that means you cannot tell me that you're having a constitution in 1999 as a result of referendum. So you can say that something is wrong with the figure. But something is also wrong with the ethnic groups coming together.
So when the economy falters, it's because it is the military that gave us a constitution that we operate in. Because we don't have the numbers to run a proper constitution given to us by ourselves.
Now, the same economy that is faulty, why is it faulty? It's because it's also the same few that is marginalizing the majority. And you are, all of us who are shouting that the economy is bad. Okay, the economy will continue to bad as long as the people are not involved in the economic process and policies. So we should stop
blaming the president.
You should stop blaming the president. And blame I have said that before. Blame the people, not the president.
No, don't blame the people. We blame the constitution.
All right, let's bring in John Akerele, who is a journalist and a public affairs analyst, into this conversation. He is in Japan and is joining us virtually. Good morning, John Akerele.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, good to have you. You've been following the conversation so far, and I want to get your take on this issue as regards Mr. Sunday Igboho'S letter or petition to the UK Prime Minister and the response we're getting today. What do you really make of that?
Thank you very much, and good morning to all of our viewers all over the globe. Good morning to my also senior colleagues, panelists in the studio, particularly Moses. Please, let's look at this issue of Sunday Igboho with, a double lens. There is a message underneath that agitation. And what is that message? You cannot tell me that everybody is mad in the country. Those who are agitating for Igbo nation, they are mad. Those agitating for Yoruba nation are mad. Do you also know that there are some people also agitating for new creation of states? These are indicators that there are some common factors common to all of these people who are agitators. And what is that thing? Is that they do not feel inclusive in how the government is being run. They feel that the quota, the sharing formula of the country does not favor their own region in their own plight. They feel marginalized. They feel neglected. They feel underdeveloped. And that's why they are saying, if they have their own control of their own states, of their own region, they can better manage their own resources rather than contributing us to the general platform and then getting few. That being said, Nigeria is a sovereign state on its own. And so UK does not have that effort to say, Yoruba nation, have your Yoruba nation. However, there's something called diplomatic ties and bilateral trade between Nigeria and the United Kingdom that we have shared over decades. And so that can also be an avenue where they are exploring in terms of not going through a non-violent approach of having a Yoruba nation. And I think that's what Sunday Igboho is doing, not going by the violent approach of having the Yoruba nation. That being said, the question that we should ask is, why is it that the same response that has been melted to other agitators has not been melted to Sunday Igboho? That takes us to the issue of equality. One stone takes all, not different stone for different people. Then and then can we be said that we are a people, a country of equal values, equal consequences for the same action. Don't forget also that sometime ago, Sunday Igboho was arrested in Benin Republic. In the case of Nnamdi Kanu, who said he wanted his own Ipob nation, we saw how the government responded to him. And so what Barrister is saying to you in the studio is that let us see that the punishment or the response is the same all across board, irrespective of your ethnicity, irrespective of your geographical location, irrespective of the part of the country you're coming from. As far as we are saying this is one Nigeria, then we must also have equal responses for actions. However, the underlying factor is that the people are not happy. And that is why you keep hearing of different agitations coming from different quarters. Now, will this agitation die? The answer is no. The only thing that can solve this agitation, because if this generation go, the next generation that will come will still continue this agitation. Mark my words. And don't forget that the internet never forgets. And so what the government of the day should be doing, coming to Mr. Okpe's issue now, that the constitution we have was handed over to us by the military. For God's sake, this is over 60 years of that. Are you still blaming that constitution? Have we not had successive governments over the past 60 years? So are you telling me that those successive governments do not know that the constitution is a problem for us? Are you saying that there's not members of the House of Rep, the National Assembly, who have been in that chamber for 24 years? Are you saying that they do not know that constitutional amendment is paramount? And these are the questions we should be asking.
All right,
because
Mr. John.
Indeed
Mr. John, when we were talking, you said something about how some people are being, treated with kid glove when they are agitating, and others are being, faced with a high road. Are you now also saying something that happened to be in line with what Mr. Akintoye, Professor Akintoye said? He said that the federal government is more like having an interest in Sunday Igboho. Maybe he has something he's not letting out, given the fact that he has been accusing the federal government during the time of Brutai of trying to bribe Sunday Igboho from saying more so that he will stay out of the agitation by Yoruba movement.
Well, what I'm saying is, if there is a law and there are consequences for that law, if you have breached the law, face the consequences. The law is, that's why if you go to the courtroom, you always see that their emblem, that is blindfolded. It does not know you. And so if you have you have gone against that law, you should face the consequences, because the law does not know either you are Nnamdi Kanu or Sunday Igboho. What the law knows is that you have broken the law and you should face the consequences.
So why do you think some people are still in detention and others are moving freely in this country? We have not just Sunday, but we also have Shawore also who push for a movement. And just like Moses Riley says, we have the Onitire who also read out her own cessation plan or act this year, and yet no arrest has been made and no one is saying anything about that.
My dear, the same thing you are saying, that's the same reason some fraudsters will give to you. Ask them, why are you into fraud? They say to you, what about our senators who are representing us? Are they not bigger fraudsters? When they give you money for your constituency projects we cannot see. The money we cannot see. Which one is a bigger fraudster? Is it him that is just doing petty fraud? Or so we are to look at the way we have degraded ourselves as a people. We have come down to that level where we have lost morals and values, that we can now start talking about this one is a big thief, this one is a small thief. Oh, this one offense is so big, this one offense is so small. Offense is offense, stealing is stealing. Be you a governor or a president or a senator. And until we get to that point where people are punished and are shown as scapegoats. See, growing up for me as a young boy in the state of Lagos, how do we learn to behave ourselves? When somebody steals and the person is flogged publicly, you send a signal to other people who might be thinking in their head or have it in their mind that they want to steal. That's not what we should do, because if you do it, you will be flogged publicly. Now, the fear of being flogged publicly stops some people from stealing. Until now, they never stole. But in a case where people steal and then you give them bigger appointment, you give them a bodyguard and a badger, what you are saying to the other ones is go and steal. Nothing will happen.
Good.
And so the same thing, a country that has no consequences for actions, anything goes. And that's why we are at this point where we are.
All right.
But my call out to the president of the division is to look at these issues. Leave Sunday Igboho, but look at the underlying factors. What are the causes? Why are there several agitations? What can this administration do to ameliorate these agitations? One, for me, is that constitutional review. Once we have a referendum where everybody comes together, sit down and formulate our own constitution by the people, then you'll see that agitations will go down drastically and we'll start addressing all of the issues according to their region, which take us back to regional system of government.
Good.
And with that, some of our issues will be solved.
All right, good. John, thanks for your thoughts. Please stay with us. We'll come back to you. Let's bring you to the studio now. Barrister Darlington Agomo, I want to ask, do you think that Igboho is serious with what he's doing, or is he merely playing to the gallery? I say that in the light of the fact that, I mean, before Tinubu made on the scene as president, the West was complaining, you know, that they had been shortchanged and Buhari did this, that he was nepotistic and all of that. And now the president is a Yoruba man. Just last week, we heard Aremu Shegu Oshoba say that Nigerians should support President Tinubu, have patience with him because he is a Yoruba man, and that he is also going to do another 4-year term after this one. And now we have Sunday Igboho come out to say, oh, we want the Yoruba nation to leave. Do you think that he's sincere? Because presently it is the Yoruba nation that has benefited in this presidency more than any other in terms of appointment. The North is even kicking. So do you think that Igboho is sincere or is merely playing to the gallery?
Thank you, Mr. Okoro. You see, the greatest problem of we in the South here is that we don't even know that we are being manipulated by some people who want to hold us in bondage. The Southwest and the Southeast are being manipulated in this country called Nigeria. They will use the Yoruba man against the Igbo man.
Who does that?
Some people from the North. Okay. Let me give you the history now. Remember that after June 12th, obviously the Southwest suffered more in the hands of both Babangida and Abacha. They suffered more. And that was why Nade could come up. Most of their leaders are not that. You know what happened. Now, within that period, when they now brought out, what's it called now? We are going back to civilian administration. Abdul Salami now said that the AD, which was representing the Southwest then, will not contest that election because they were not prepared. Of course, they were coming out from June 12th agitation. Those structure, nothing. And so, a Yoruba leader, Abraham Adesanya, now told Abdul Salam that if the Yoruba did not take part in this election, that they will pull out of Nigeria. Listen very well. At that time, the North knew that they are already losing grip of Nigeria. Remember, they have been the problem. They have been the problem of this country in all ramifications. They don't want things to move forward. They don't want this country to develop. They're always holding on to power as if it's their birthright. I was all over the media telling the Southwest, this is the time for us to come to the table and tell the North, let us rearrange this thing so that nobody will be a slave in Nigeria. Unfortunately, nobody listened. They went to bring out Obasanjo, who would do the business they wanted him to do for them, and he now took over. They were all holding it in trust for the North. Didn't you see what happened? When Obasanjo left, and gradually they took over power. And now, whenever you want to agitate for equal rights in Nigeria, you see how the North will deploy all the military force against you.
But Barrister Darlington, the Northerners are they the ones conducting all the elections? Because we've been voting in Nigeria.
I am coming.
That is how we select our leaders.
I am coming. My dear, don't go too far. When this thing was going on, some of us knew, and we are saying it, the Southern leaders here, why not come together? Because every time you be hearing Northern leaders, 19 states of the North holding meeting, holding meeting on what to do and what not to do. You in the here, have you ever seen the Igbo man and the Yoruba man coming together to say, okay, let us stop this insult on us?
So
that it is our children that will inherit it.
How
remember, they used the Southwest, and now the Southwest have taken over, holding it in trust for the North. Immediately, Tinubu stepped down now. I'm sure the North will take over. They will now continue with what they are doing with the Southeast. My dear, if we come together, just like the North, when it comes to political power, do you know that this thing would have, all these agitations here will stop? Because they know what they are doing.
On my question, is on the Igboho being sincere, or is it playing to the gallery?
I want to get there. I want to go there.
Okay.
When Son Igboho started Niger, remember it was under Buhari's regime. Remember?
Yes.
Good. And the North wanted the Southwest. They needed the support of the South in whatever they are doing here. And so when Son Igboho started agitating, it's not as if they don't know what to do with him. Because they needed the support of the South. Remember, Tinubu was already preparing to go to Abuja. And so they were not too keen in trying to use for the same for they are using in Southeast. So they wanted the Southwest as a link or as a stepping stone to keep the people of the South down. And they succeeded. So when they chased Son Igboho into the Republic of Benin, they said, okay, fine, at least there will be peace now. And now they continue what they are doing. If the Southwest were serious, Mr. Okoro, remember that each time that case come up in the Republic of Benin, the entire Yoruba de la Crime, the entire Yoruba leadership will go to Republic of Benin to give him moral support until eventually Tinubu got into power. Of course, the rest is history. Mention any of their boys now that is in detention. I mean, major agitators. They are not serious, because if they are serious, my brother, this thing would have happened long ago. When we started this in 1967, if the Southwest had supported us, my brother, we will not be here today. And the North to make sure they did not have. That's why they used the Southwest against the Igbos. That is Biafra we are talking about in 1967. Look, is that not what we are talking about today? The Aburi Accord, who truncated it? It was the permanent secretary from the Southwest who truncated it. When Ogowori came back with Aburi Accord, Manowa, Asiodu, and all of them, they told the Gowon, don't do this, don't sign it. No, this Igbo man, he has used Igbo sense to manipulate you. Don't sign that thing, no. They made the Gowon not to sign that Aburi Accord. And you know the rest of the story. That was one thing that would have saved Nigeria from civil war. They truncated it. All because of what? The North was manipulating them. Can you see it? So, in time we want to move forward, they will look for somebody they will use to make sure it does not happen. So, this is that Son Igboho is doing that. The Southwest says, one word or the other. You see somebody say yes. It's not as if they are serious. They are not serious. If they are serious, Mr. Okoro, you will see the reaction. The same way they came out against June 12th. The same way they came out in 2012 against Jonathan. They would have done the same thing. But because a Yoruba man is in Asoro today, I cannot take them serious.
All right.
They are just playing to the gallery.
All right, Barrister.
I'm giving you instances here where they would have taken effort, made serious effort to stop the hegemony of the North against the South here.
Those are your thoughts, and they're quite. I will value your contribution on the program. Let me come back to Oyo now. With everything going on, doesn't this speak to the fragility of the Nigerian state, where we have regions, groups of individuals calling for secession continually? Shouldn't something be done? We don't see this happen in places like America, where you have, a culmination of different people, different groups of people, different. Basically, one can say America is made up of different countries because of how large different states are in the United States of America. We don't see this call for separation, secession. Don't you think there's a larger problem here?
All right. So for Nigeria, we're having like three major issues. Number one, we're having a constitutional problem. Number two, we're having what do you call it? We have a resource allocation issue. All right. And number three, we're also having what we call fundamental behavioral pattern issues. All right. That is our cultural values.
Call it tribal issues.
All right. So if, number one, we're having a constitutional issue, the question is, are we ready, are the leaders ready to bring the people together? Now, each time we have a conversation around that it is a Igbo man that is Nassau, or it's a Yoruba man that is Nassau, I'm always, for me, I always smile and look at whoever is having that conversation, as that the person is actually deceiving, either the person is deceiving himself or is deceiving the citizens. Because in this same country, we have Ayin Pius Ayin as Senate President. What was done for Nigeria? In this same country, we have Ikwe Ekeremadu as Deputy Senate President. For years, nothing tangible in the East. In this same country, we have Okadigbo as the Senate President. Nothing tangible as development in the East. Now, we are all blaming Yoruba man. In this same country, we have a Yoruba man who was in president in terms of Olusegun Obasanjo, who refused to develop his own region, even his own state. And we are still blaming the Yoruba man. When are we going to move out of this, our shackles of ethnic bigotry and conversations? The man in Asorok, corruption, nepotism, all of this has no ethnic color. A corrupt Yoruba man will be a corrupt Hausa man. Now, the question is, when we talk about the circumstances around our values, around the resources, like John Akreli said earlier on, agitation is as a result of what? Resources. Resources, resources. Now, how do we move away from there? For us to move away from that resources, we must balance the equation of the Constitution. So you can see that everything still points towards Constitution. Everything does not point towards the Yoruba man or the Igbo man who is Nassau. Like Dele Farotimi said, if you bring for Obama to lead Nigeria in next 8 years, it will fail fantastically. So why as a result of the kind of the process we are running.
Mr. Bolo, some people
so it's not about the Igbo man that is Nassau. The problem of Nigeria as of today is not the North. It's not the North. If you care to listen, it is the people who are ready to be manipulated that will be manipulated. If you're ready today to unite and say that I am fighting for Nigeria, as of today, we should be talking about regional government, not cessation, not Ipob, not Yoruba nation. If truly we are sincere. So whoever is fighting for Yoruba nation, for Ipob nation, is not sincere with Nigeria. The real sincerity should be about regional government. So that when you come to my region, I will undo my resources. Whatever I have, I contribute to the central.
Mr. Bolu,
are you getting me now? Once we do that, everybody will develop, even development will come to different regions. And at that level, regional government will help to work to strengthening the central.
Mr. Bolu,
then we can have what?
Mr. Bolu, thank you so much.
Indigenous development, not ethnic development.
Just to be very clear, please, I'm not sure anybody here has blamed the Yoruba man. I'm not sure anybody has blamed the Yoruba man. So let's be very clear on that. And when you say that...
No, people are blaming Yoruba man.
When you say that...
No, you can't disclose that. People are blaming Yoruba man.
We just asked a question. Nobody blamed the Yoruba man.
People are blaming Yoruba man.
On this studio, in this studio?
I don't know whether it's this studio.
Exactly so. You see, when you talk about the Constitution, when you talk about whether he's a Yoruba man that is in office and people are blaming him on that, you will recall, or do you recall that between 1999 and 2007, when Olusegun Obasanjo was the president of this country, there was no agitation. Even if there was, it wasn't intense.
There was agitation.
It wasn't as intense as it is now, because the man clearly redistributed resources equally among all the ethnic nationalities. It was even Obasanjo that convened a national confab in 2005, ahead of his exit in 2007. Yar'Adua made on the scene. There was no agitation except that in the Niger Delta, that the state itself had criminalized the people. And when they were granted amnesty, the country moved on. Jonathan came, was there any agitation except the issue of Boko Haram and insecurity? And suddenly, a certain man made on the scene, and everything went down. And you still blame the Constitution? Now, my question is this. Do you, in all honesty, think that our problem is the Constitution, or is it a problem of leadership?
Our problem is the Constitution. Now, when we talk about leadership, how did leader get to the position?
I just told you,
did he jump into the process?
For 8 years.
Now,
Yar'Adua was president and Jonathan for 6 years. And there was peace in the land, so to say, peace.
You said there was peace. Maybe you had peace in your house as a then.
Because we didn't see the
kind of process. There was agitation in Niger Delta. Obasanjo asked to level up some community.
What happened?
And there was supposed to be genocide in that time. Are you aware?
What happened? Do you agree to the fact
that you aware that there was
people killed soldiers in OD? People killed soldiers. Do you approve of that? That was why Obasanjo commanded the military to take charge of OD.
But that was an agitation. It was an agitation.
It was the militancy.
But you said there was peace in Obasanjo.
Mr. Oluwa, hold it. Let me tell you. There was agitation in the Niger Delta because of militancy. The state had clearly criminalized the Niger Delta people. And when Yar'Adua came, what did he do? He granted them amnesty and everything quietened down.
But there was agitation.
Didn't I say that? I said it wasn't as intense as it is
No.
That everybody
you are coloring black to be blue. And there was a serious agitation. There was serious agitation.
Do you think that is a problem of leadership or that of the Constitution? Because Obasanjo operated the same Constitution Yar'Adua did and Jonathan did.
You are Okoro. If you and Barrister Darlington enter Aso Rock today with the kind of constitution we are operating, you will fail fantastically. That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Oluwa, a whole lot of people.
Did Obasanjo succeed?
Mr. Oluwa,
did he succeed?
Obasanjo succeeded.
He did not succeed.
Obasanjo succeeded.
He did not succeed.
Obasanjo left the economy.
A man that did not develop his region, you're saying that he succeeded.
Mr. Oluwa, some people are now saying.
You saw what Buhari did to Napa region.
Mr. Oluwa,
he developed his region.
Mr. Oluwa,
Obasanjo did not develop his own region. He said he succeeded. He said he succeeded. I'm surprised you're having this conversation.
The northern region that is still posting figures of the poorest of the poor.
Mr. Oluwa, now the question is this: since you have just pointed out,
where's the railway line that Obasanjo did in Southwest?
Mr. Oluwa, since you have just pointed out a whole lot of things, now you made mention of how some people have been there from a particular time to this point in time. You made mention of people who are Senate presidents, and you also remember that you have Senate presidents also from all that part of this country. But I was surprised that I didn't make mention of a Nigerian or Southeastern and Ipob man who is a president, when you're making this thing. And this is where some people are actually hinging on when they make their own. Because they said, why, since you have tried all these people and it didn't work out, why not let the people who have been clamoring, who have been talking more about this, get to that position? Why is it difficult?
No.
Let us give it a fair trial so that they will now say they have tried and they failed. They will now know it is a case of the whole constitution, just like you're pointing out.
Now, as a people, we must understand that we have not been sincere and fair to ourselves, both at the national level and also at the regional level. There's nothing stopping somebody like Rochas from representing you in the last government. But the same set of Easterners gang up against Rochas. There was nothing stopping somebody like Soludo of becoming the president of Nigeria. If Soludo should come out today to become president of Nigeria, I, as Yoruba man, I'll be number one to be his campaign manager.
Let's bring it back again to the just concluded election.
Divided your region.
Bring it back to
the national.
Bring it back to the just concluded election. Just concluded election.
If refuse to unite himself,
Mr.
so you can't get the presidency.
Just concluded election.
We brought a P2B, and you saw the inroad he made in the last election. Why was it that the Igbos were asked not to come out and vote? Every time Igbos should go, especially in this Lagos, the so-called Center of Excellence. Why is it the Constitution that said that every time, whenever the people of Lagos feel like, they will tell the Igbos, don't vote, go back to your state, go back. Is it consistently? Tell me any time such a thing has happened in the Southeast. Mention the time.
Nobody is disturbing from voting in Lagos. If they disturb you, how come you are having two commissioners? How come you're having chairman who are Igbo men in Lagos State?
Really?
How come you're having vice chairman who are Igbo men in Lagos State? At least as Aturi Asam, if I don't know anything, I know of Amu Odofin and I know of Ajero Mifemi. The current vice chairman is an Igbo man, a core Igbo man.
You are not being sincere.
How did you get to that position?
Right, now,
if you unite yourself as an Igbo people, you will get the presidency. When you continue to divide yourself because of who you are, you can't get the presidency. It's as simple as that. It's not the problem of anybody. It's not the problem of anybody.
Mr. Okolu, I don't like the fact that you are wrongly profiling an
I'm telling you, we are
you divide yourself. You are outburst. You need to check it. You say the Igbos can never get the presidency.
Can you imagine?
If you unite yourself, you get it.
You are on national television.
If you unite, you will. Look how you did. Look how you did for Peter Obi. Look how you united for Peter Obi and you got the figure. If you can unite in the next election, you will get 2027. What you did in 2023, if you can unite once again, you will get it.
We are not united.
No, you will get it.
You said we are not united.
2027, prepare for
You
it.
said we are not united.
2027,
All right.
Barrister.
United when Tinubu got it.
Barrister.
Tinubu got it because the Yoruba killed
Barrister,
him.
please hold on.
Please, sincere yourself.
Mr.
Meanwhile, the North are telling you that they are the one that gave
It's
us
fine.
the
It's
vote.
okay.
if you are ready, you will get 2027.
All right, gentlemen,
Team along with Peter Obi, you will get 2027.
No, you are not the one to decide.
All
You
right.
are not the one to decide.
Well,
what we are saying is here.
we don't appreciate
very
the gentleman. We don't appreciate the profiling of an ethnic group, and we also do not appreciate this sort of outburst. We are here to ask questions and find a solution to a problem. So I would like us to coordinate ourselves in the studio. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Now let's get back to Barrister, please. Thank you. Now let's get back to John Akirele. John, do we still have John Akirele virtually?
Yeah, but I'm here. Can you hear me?
Good to have you. Good to have you, John. Now let's wrap up this conversation. Your thoughts now on basically your concluding thoughts on what you've observed so far, and do respond to the question asked earlier if Mr. Sunday Igboho is being sincere or just playing to the gallery, because I'm not sure we got the correct answer to that question.
Thank you very much, Moses. You see, a place where people have bitterness in their mind as a result of historical precedents. And that's what you're seeing happening in the studio. Barrister, on the other hand, is telling you he's a student of history and he never forgets. Mr. Quello, on the other hand, also, listening to both of them, you can see the divide and you can understand better the kind of mess we are as a people. And so for me, Sunday Igboho, either you say he's playing to the gallery, or he's saying he's just joking, or he's saying what he's saying now does not really carry weight. Don't forget that it's a seed that has been planted. If did not pull through Sunday Igboho, mark my word, it will still pull through. It might take 40 years, it might take 100 years, but it will still pull through if the underlying issues are not dealt with. Moses, most of us travel outside the country and we see the kind of treatment we get, even when we are not citizens of those countries. How come in our own country we can have such equality? How come we can have such an enabling environment in our own country? Why must it be that I must be a Yoruba man, or I must speak Yoruba to get a job, or I must speak Igbo to get an Igbo office? So we must get to that point where we rise above ethnic bigotry, religious bigotry, when we look at competence and capacity, who can do this job well? Look at other countries of the world. When they debate, Moses, they debate based on policies and ideas, not I will do road. Exactly. And so, if you are talking about failure of leadership, Moses, both the North, the South, Southwest, Southeast, and all part of our leaders have all failed us. And the result of that failure is the agitation you are seeing from left, right, and center. And if these failures are not addressed, Moses, I'm scared to say to you that we are just sitting on a time bomb that is a ticking time bomb for that matter. So for me, it's a call to action that there should be equality in the land is a call to action that at this point in time, we need that constitution review. We need to have a confederation where people can sit together and discuss our constitution. Moses, the one going on presently is the annual state creation, where some people feel they are not part of Edo State and they are not part of Delta State, and so they should create their own state. So my question now is there an increase in the geographical territory? The answer is no. It means that it's the same territory, but some people feel they are not part of it. So how can we now have more inclusive system of governance?
All right.
How can we make every region be included? That is what we can say.
John,
we are indeed
before
a nation.
Before you conclude, interestingly, there's a video I saw some back, and I think we will be playing that video for you. It was online, so we got it from the online space. In this video, before you get to here, in this video, these gentlemen were interviewed, and from their accent, one can say that they are from the southwestern part of Nigeria. And this gentleman spoke convincingly that they are of the opinion that the president is an Igbo man. And so he's favoring the Igbos. Interesting thoughts, I must say. But let's listen to them.
They are just on their own talking.
You said the last time that Tinubu is an Anambra.
Yes, you know.
How you tell what are your facts that Tinubu is an Anambra?
Tinubu mother from Oyo State. In father from Anambra. You know, Navy from his side.
Is that the reason why you said that's the reason why Yoruba are suffering?
Yes, sir.
You said Yoruba are suffering because Tinubu is from Anambra.
Yes, that's why we are suffering now.
Why so Tinubu government can't favor Igbo?
Yes, see the reason. The Igbo people, they joined the Tinubu regime. So there's no suffering at all.
Igbo people, they enjoy.
Well.
But what do you have to say?
It's true. Igbo too, they enjoy.
They are enjoying Tinubu.
They are enjoying Tinubu administration. He favor them.
He no favor.
He no favor Yoruba and Hausa, but he favor Igbos.
You said Tinubu is from Anambra. Do you?
He from Anambra 50. He mother from Osun, from
his mother.
His mother Rabiji from Rabiji.
Okay. I can't be a Lagosian.
Don't worry, everybody now can be.
He's a Muslim.
He's a Muslim.
But that's the reason why Yoruba people are suffering the government.
Yes. A father from Anambra from Inewi. Yes. Here with his mother, they meet at Lagos.
Okay.
So that's
why
how
they are suffering because Igbo man, they favor Igbo man.
They favor Igbo man. Yes.
Come. Where did they go?
So there you have it. You do recall that there was a time also that Obasanjo was accused of being from Anambra as well. Well, So these are the thoughts of some Nigerians. You might say they're not very educated, but it goes a long way when you talk about these individuals in Nigeria, these Nigerians having these mindsets. Wouldn't that be a reason for agitation? So if you're talking about playing to the gallery or an actual agitation, wouldn't this be a reason? Because there seemed to be something against those from the southeastern part of Nigeria. Well, let's have John conclude on his thoughts, and then I'll come back to the studio. John, please. One more minute, John. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, you see, for me, it's quite funny, but there is a message in that video that all political elites should learn. And what's that message? Let's have clarity about your background so as to avoid all of these misinformations. Moses, if you are to be a governor, let's know where your father is from. Let's know where your mother is from. So that at the end of the day, something like this will not come up on the social media. Exactly. Now, because we don't even know the identity of Mr. President, with all due respect, all of these are coming out. Some are saying his mother is from Iragbiji, his father is from Anambra. He is the only person who can address this issue. And the issue about identity, about credentials, so many issues are hanging. So in a case where leaders are not giving clarity, assumptions will take the air, and that's what you have.
All
So
right.
going forward, let's make corrections.
All right, then. Thank you very much, John. Let's come back to the studio. Barrister, go ahead.
Now, Moses, you see, one of the reasons why I always, dwell in history is not because I am a history student, but because we have read so many things about this country. We know there are historical antecedents to all our dealings in Nigeria. You see, when problem starts, most Nigerians don't even see it as a problem until the thing now develops into a life of its own and want to swallow all of us. But we forgot that somebody started this thing that we are talking about. In 1952, Zik won an election in the Southwest to become the leader of the Western Region Parliament. What happened? That I'm talking of something that would have destroyed this tribalism and whatever. What happened? Awolowo said, no, a son cannot be a slave in his father's house. So how can an Igbo man be a leader in the Southwest? And he called his people, and the rest is history. The people that supported Azikiwe, overnight, all of them went cross-carpeted to Awolowo's side. And when Zik looked at in the morning, when Zik woke up, he discovered that all the people that were with him in the Southwest that have all ran to Awolowo. The man said, okay, no problem. He now ran to the Southeast and told, what's that his name now? The man from Calabar. And told him, please go back to your own decision. That was the seed of tribalism was planted. Moses, is that not true? Tell me.
Your history.
These are leaders. They never thought that this thing will create such a big problem now.
All right, Barrister.
And we are pretending as if we don't know.
Barrister,
you can't bury history. You
Barrister,
can't.
this is your concluding thought.
You cannot bury history.
All right, thank you very much.
So,
Thank you very much, Barrister Darlington.
Since that time, how that type of behavior has changed.
Let's move on to, let's have Okweluwa.
It has not changed. So let us start blaming the Constitution.
Barrister,
it is leaders that did it for their own selfish
Barrister,
interests.
thank you very much. Okweluwa, please, your concluding thoughts. In a minute, please.
Nigeria can move from where we are to where we want to be if we are ready to push for the next level. The next level is sacrifice. Sacrifice from the leaders, sacrifice from the people. The next level is to follow governance in the 21st century.
Okay.
The next level is to unite Nigeria. The next level is to elect a leader with content, not with ethnic color.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Okweluwa Taiwo. Now let's get into another conversation now. Ondo Guba poll. The Independent Electoral Commission cautions Makinde over unfounded allegations during campaigns. Let's talk about this one after this very short break.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to ensure a credible governorship election in Oyo State, with Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde leading the charge. During the PDP's campaign rally in Akure, Makinde, who is the party's leader in the Southwest, demanded the removal of Ondo's resident electoral commissioner, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola, arguing that she could not ensure a fair election. He cited concerns over the integrity of the last Edo State election and emphasized the need for a level playing field in the November 16 election. Makinde's comments were supported by Oyo State Governor Ademola Adeleke, who endorsed the party's candidate, Abuola Ajayi, as a tested leader capable of bringing progress to Oyo State. Oh well, in response, INEC has dismissed Makinde's allegation as baseless. The electoral body, in a statement on its verified social media account, clarified that Mrs. Babalola is not from Ondo State, in line with INEC's policy of not assigning a REC to their state of origin. However, INEC did not even tell Nigerians the state of origin of Mrs. Babalola. INEC reminded the public that Makinde had made similar unfounded allegations ahead of the 2020 Ondo governorship election, which were also proven false. Now, the commission urged public figures like Governor Makinde to verify information before making statements that could undermine the electoral process. We still have in the studio Barrister Darlington Agomo and Mr. Oyo Taiwo, and virtually we have Mr. John Akerele. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us.
Thank you.
Now, Oyo, let me come straight to you on this. You recall what happened in Edo State when the PDP also said that the REC was a relation of Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, who had clear interest in the Edo governorship election. And INEC said, no, we are not going to remove him. And we all know what panned out or what happened during the Edo election. The case should be in court now. People are still contesting the election results. Now, we have a similar situation in Ondo State where Oluseyi Makinde has said, no, Oluwatoyin Babalola is from Ondo State, and you cannot send her to go and become REC in Ondo State because that clearly is an issue of conflict of interest. INEC has come out to say she is not from Ondo State, but did not tell Nigerians her state of origin. Do you think that the PDP is right to feel this way, considering the fact that Ganduje, APC has said, look, Edo is down, Ondo is next? What do you think?
Running an election in Nigeria has been very cumbersome. Running a seamless, free and fair in Nigeria is yet to be ascertained. It has always been a mirage. So, where do we go from here? We had Edo State governorship election, and the first time we also had some party like PDP accusing the REC of being a family to Wike. Apparently, if we are to follow all of these sentiments, as of today, Wike is still a member of PDP. So how come PDP is complaining that the REC of Edo is related to Wike? So that means the REC of Edo, by default, should be supporting PDP. So apparently what happened in PDP in Edo State, they were just washing their dirty clothes outside. That's just what they are doing. It does not hold any water. Now, the same thing is going towards Ondo State governorship election that is coming shortly. When we are having a state election, one thing we must understand, the little I know about INEC, and I've said it and I'm saying it once again. In the last 5 years, or the last 10 years, the problem, especially in the last election, the problem of not having a free and fair election is not the problem of INEC. When the people are ready, the election will be free. So I'm surprised that a party is complaining that a REC is either from that state, it's not from that state. If she's actually from that state, the question is, what party does she belong? Number two, if she's not from that state, all right, the question still remains, what party affiliation does she have? So, Governor Makinde, as of today, has not ascertained what political affiliation is directed to the REC of Ondo State.
Mr. Oluwa, are we supposed to...
He is only accusing the REC of Ondo of being a citizen of Ondo.
And
for me, that kind of sentiment...
It violates regulations, INEC regulations on the appointment of RECs.
Now, the INEC has not told us whether they will remove her or not. Don't forget, a REC can be removed at any point in time. But I can still say that based on the law govern INEC, Governor Makinde is actually right in his own opinion.
No, Mr. Boluwa, you were saying
That
something
she can be
earlier.
removed.
I would like you to hold your line of thought anyway. You get back to that. You said something to say that Makinde has not told us, the political party, the rec of Oyo State, belong to. But we know that INEC should be independent. They shouldn't belong to any political party. In fact, they don't have any business with party politics. Now, I'm bringing it back again to what he said, that INEC should not be held responsible for, the outcome of our elections. We just know, I love going back to the 2023 general election, whereby they gave us their words that the results of elections will be, sent electronically. But later, what we keep on hearing is that there was an issue when it gets to the presidential election. The governorship election, I beg your pardon, the House of Assembly elections, there were no issues. And we did other elections during that period. Then why is it that when it gets to that of the presidential election, the Beavers, IREV were having issues? That is one. And a second time again, just like in Oyo State, whereby Edo State, where they just concluded their election, INEC told us that everything is ready. They say that they have everything under control. But later they came up to say that water submerged where they left their election materials, and then they had to borrow from nearby states. But the same day of the election, some people did not go out to vote because INEC come up with an excuse that the machines were not working properly. We were here getting the feeds from Edo State when the election was conducted. Now, are we still saying we have to exonerate INEC from all the little issues that have been posted as a challenge for Nigerians during elections?
I'm happy that you said all the little issues. Now, when we are on the football pitch, and there are challenges in terms of training, and there are challenges in terms of the relationship between the coach and the footballer, will you come on the pitch to blame the referee?
We'll take that to be that of the political parties, right?
Now, let's leave that. The INEC is the referee in the Nigeria election. Now, when they draw up their budget, they've told you what and what they want. The question is, have we met the budget? If we have met the budget, the next question is the INEC ready? Since they say they are ready, whatever goes wrong during the election, who is bringing the wrong activity or the wrong action? For instance, if INEC is telling you that Beavers has an issue, is it that the Beavers has an issue at the point of election or at the point of collation? If at the point of a collation, the IRF or the Beavers does not have problem, and it's at the point of collation or announcing the result that it is our problem, then we can say there's a challenge with INEC.
From the time of accreditation, to the time of voting, to the time of result collation, to the time of announcement, everything revolves around INEC, Mr. Boluwa. It doesn't have anything to do with political party anymore because they are the ones conducting and manning the... It's just like you're coming into the studio to tell me that during this program now, and then boom, I have a script to read and I couldn't read it. Am I going to blame the directors for that? It boiled back to me because this is what I said I can do. So I think it is high time we come up with it. I love the fact that you said you belong to this team of people that talk about free and fair and also credibility. Now, if INEC says they are credible enough to handle elections in Nigeria, and they also gave us what they need, and we made provisions using taxpayers' money, I don't see the reason INEC, in my, trying to talk about some people's opinion, for them to come up with, excuses during the time of them telling us the outcome of elections. Why didn't they tell us that Beavers are not working before the elections, Mr. Boluwa, if you try to exonerate INEC from all this?
All right, so let's look at it this way. There are technical issues and there are fundamental issues. When you go into an election, who are the people involved in the election? The job of INEC, what is their job? Their job is to bring your ballot paper, all right? And their job is to bring the what? The Beavers. So in that process, when you get to the points, the polling units, what happens? How secure are the INEC? What transpire at the polling unit? Is it the problem of INEC? So if at the point of voting, there was some rioting and the rest, and whoever is the polling unit officer has to escape for his or her life, you can see what happened sometimes ago when some NYSC were just killed like common animal. Are we ready to continue that way? So if INEC officer in that particular polling decide to save himself or herself, and the process was not concluded, and they have to rearrange another election for that polling unit, is that the problem of INEC?
Mr.
All right. Now, let's go back to Ondo. If whatever Oyo State governor has said, Oyo Makinde, he is saying that based on the law of INEC, that whoever is from Ondo is not expected to be the REC. So the question is, when will INEC remove the REC of Ondo? Since she's from Ondo. But if she's not from Ondo, then they should come out to tell us which state she's from.
Thank you, Mr. Polo. Barrister Darlington Agomo, do you agree with Seyi Makinde?
Yes, I agree with him.
On what basis? On what grounds?
Because it is said that when you are bitten by a snake, when you see the head of a lizard, you will take off. You don't want to wait. What happened in Edo after all the hue and cry that this REC has allegiance to Wike? And I know that all the flaws that came out of Edo State's election can be attributed to the action of the REC. Because look at the resident electoral commissioner. In fact, he will decide the votes. That is why he's there. Remember that this type of thing happened in Kano. That was how Buhari won Jonathan. It was in Kano that Buhari got the highest vote that he defeated Jonathan. The REC in Kano had the actual result that gave Jonathan victory. But the police commissioner, Idris, said no, that he, the police commissioner, had the actual result. And the REC insisted that he's going to submit that particular result to the state headquarters for announcement. The police commissioner said he will not do that. A night before that time, they surrounded his house and set it on fire. The man brought inside his house. It's on record. So you can see the importance of REC. So when they are planting these people to do their dirty business, that's why people are crying out. No other reason. Why didn't they talk about the polling agents? Why didn't they? It is the REC who decides the outcome of that election in the state. Whatever he announces is final from that state. So if there is that same plan that he has any allegiance to any of the parties or anybody, please, INEC has a duty to change that person. After all, we have so many RECs from the north now. Why can't they bring them here?
Barrister Darlington, based on what happened in Edo State, where APC took it from the PDP, and now Ondo State is APC, and if APC takes it, that will be 2 down according to Ganduje. And they have also threatened to take Abia State. Barrister Darlington, are we heading to a one-party state?
No, my friend here will not agree.
No. Talk about it.
Yes. He keep avoiding the real issue. And you see, you are here when I was telling you history here. You see this thing that is happening now, that APC want to collect all the state. Nobody will see anything wrong in it until it happens. Moses, until it happens, will not come here and say, Russian President Vladimir Putin, he has the one-party state. Why can't it happen in Nigeria?
Barrister, who are we to blame over that?
We will blame those in leadership who refuse to do the right thing. That's why we are shouting from the rooftop now. Because I know what will happen if this thing happens. I know Tinubu, he like power. He wants to grab everything. The moment it happens, I am telling you, we will not come to this studio and talk again. When Nigeria becomes a one-party state, Tinubu will not allow anybody to even breathe. And by that time, my friend, we will now start looking for somebody to blame. We are saying it now. This nonsense must stop. Let there be free and fair election. All right. If you win, you win. Not using underhand tactics. Remember before Oyo, remember what Tinubu said. Some people met him at Aso Rock. Some APC people, they met him in Aso Rock. And you know what happened? He said, do you want me to give you Edo State? They said, yes. I said, I will give you Edo State. Is that not what happened? With that statement, will INEC go and disappoint Tinubu?
So in other words, you're saying that INEC is not independent. Are you saying that INEC is not independent?
They are not. Under this dispensation, they are not.
That's a very tough allegation.
No, can't you see it? Well, is it not obvious?
That's a very tough one.
With what you are saying now, is it not obvious? Jonathan allowed the Jega free hand. That's why he lost that election. Can it happen under this dispensation?
All right,
The answer
so
is no.
because we're running out of time. And
So
we still have,
this thing one party said that you are gradually looking at as if it's a joke. I wish it will happen. Let me see somebody that come here and talk.
Because we're running out of time and we've not heard from John Akirile on this one. John, let's get your take in. Is there cause for alarm, or are we just crying wolf?
Moses, if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
I'm more perturbed.
You're unperturbed?
Yes.
Wow.
Number one
you're
that,
more perturbed. Okay. I thought you said you're okay, go ahead.
No, I'm more perturbed. Now, some of the issues that we are not even looking at is that as a country and as a people, we don't take responsibility for our actions. And that has shown in every cadre of leadership, from the presidency to the governors, to the local government chairman, and even to the INEC, chairman. And that has shown you that there is something fundamentally wrong with our kind of leadership in the country. We should get to a stage where every leader takes responsibility of their actions and inactions. And if we get to that stage, Moses, the issue of security challenge that Mr. Okoyemi raised about corps members, whose responsibility is it to provide security of life and property? Is it me? It's the government. And so if the government fails to provide adequate security for INEC personnel, the government should be held accountable. On the issue of transparency of the REC, Moses, you see, the same way they said President Tinubu is from Anambra, the same thing is happening now. This is the same issue, but different message. And that issue points out to the point of transparency, Moses. Why is it difficult for you to say where the REC is from? It's a simple thing. This does not even need us to come and discuss on this platform. The REC is from Ekiti State. Simple. It's from Osogbo State. Simple. It's from Osun State. Simple. That should not really, cost us an arm and a leg. And so we should be seen as a people that is really ready to do the right thing at the right time. Moses, another thing that's really bothering me is about having strong institutions. You see, and every of our political leaders are at fault because they are indirectly destroying our institutions.
Exactly.
And they forget that just like my brother, His Excellency Obaseki, is now a former governor. They will also be former chairman. But the institution will remain. Before they were governors, some people have been governors. After them, there will be a governor too. But that state will remain. They have been INEC chairman over the past years. After Yakub, there will be another INEC chairman. But institution will still remain. And so people must understand that as a people, we should be strong institutions and not strong people.
Right.
Moses, last but not least, about individuality. There was a wreck that was in Abia State that led to the emergence of His Excellency Alex Oti. It's a wreck.
Yes.
There's also another wreck in Edo State that led to the emergence of Senator Igboho'S. It's also a wreck. That tells you the issue of individuality even in institutions. The person you are bringing, how is that person? What are the processes that led to that person to become a wreck? How did he grow on the cadre of ladder? These are questions that we should be asking. And just like His Excellency Peter Obi said, the process of getting people into office matter more. The process, how people become wreck, Moses, is more important than shouting the wreck now. So for me, I look at these issues more intrinsically than just looking at it at the peripheral level. So for me, it shows that there are so many underlying issues that we must deal with as a people.
All right.
And last but not the least process is our electoral process. We should come to a point of agreement that at this point in time, our electoral process should be that which will, have less of human involvement. And by so doing, violence will be out of it, rigging will be out of it, manipulation will be out of it. I hope we get there. God bless Nigeria.
All right, then. Thank you very much, John Akirile, joining us
But
from
where the
Japan.
leadership does not want to do the right thing, Moses. We cannot reinvent the wheel. The technology is out there. Some people just don't, because of selfish interest. That is why they don't want this country to move forward. Selfish interest. You cannot tell me that this administration, they are not. Look, all the things they promise Nigerians, all the things they campaign with, Moses, why are they not implementing them?
All right, then. Well, I'm sure we'll be back to talk about some of these issues because there are a lot more pressing issues. We do know, John did raise something about people getting into office. We know that right now we are seeing relatives of politicians rising within the judiciary. I guess Barrister will tell us how that can be nipped in the bud before we start having judges giving out electoral elections to, those that are related to them. Because our elections always find a way to end up in the court.
Yes.
Quite an unfortunate one.
Unfortunate.
Well, we must say a very big thank you to you, gentlemen. Okwaluwa Taiwo, CEO, is it CEO now? Executive Director, I beg your pardon. Executive Director, African Bridge Initiative. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right then. Are you okay? You need a glass of water?
Yeah, Nigeria is still okay. I can't be deceived.
We'll get you a glass of water.
God bless Nigeria.
All right then. Big thanks to Barrister Darlington. Big thanks to Barrister Darlington Agumo. He's building them bridges. Barrister Darlington Agumo of VOP in-house analyst. Thank you very much for coming on the program as well. And also John Akirile joining us from Japan. Thank you very much. Stay safe, John.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All
God
right
bless
then.
Nigeria.
Well, that's it on the show. Chukuma, you have a few words you want to wrap up with?
Moses, I just wish Nigerians to enjoy the rest of their day. It's too much. It's too much for me.
It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. Oh yes, a lot to deal with. Like some would say, Nigeria is like a movie, unraveling. It's troubling. Well, that's it on the show today. But stick around. So much more to come your way. In about 7 more minutes, yes, we'll be looking at the papers now. Chukuma and I will be here to look at the papers and. Also, Oyidamola Lukuton will join us from the streets of Lagos. Well, that's it on VOP this morning. Newspaper review comes up next on behalf of the crew. And my colleagues, Chukuma Okoro, Finoke Chuku, I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.